All right, let's work on a multi-section solid using guide curves to create a mouse cover. So we're going to start by entering into sketch mode on the side plane, and using a 3-point arc, we're going to generate our first guide curve. We're going to set the radius to be 235 millimeters. We're going to set the horizontal distance as 224 millimeters. And then from there, we're going to define the heights of our two endpoints. So the first one, the one that's on the left-hand side, we're going to set as 46. The one on the right, we're going to set as 30. And once we're ISO constrained, then we'll exit the sketch, go over to our feature tree, select into our properties menu, and change the name to top guide so that we can keep track of which ones are our guide curves and which ones are our profiles. Next, I'm going to enter into sketch mode on the top plane, rotate it around to where it looks more like our top view, and create our second guide curve. This one's going to have a radius of 240 millimeters. And then let's go ahead and do the vertical height of the endpoint, which is going to be 116 minus 58. So 58. Next, we'll go ahead and set the horizontal distance, which is going to be our depth measurement. And that's going to be 224 again. Lastly, we'll set the vertical height of the back endpoint, and that's going to be a distance of 58 as well. So then once we're ISO constrained, we're going to exit the sketch and then rename this one as left guide. Then we're going to enter into sketch mode on the top plane again, but remember it needs to be a separate sketch from the one that we just did. Guide curves can't be on the same sketch. And then we're going to go into our 3-point arc, and this time we're going to set two different arcs that are going to be tangent to each other to create that curvature. First arc is going to be 418. The next arc is going to be 125, and we'll make sure that we have a tangent relationship between them. From there, we need to go ahead and set the horizontal distance. Again, that's going to be 224. And then we'll set our vertical distances of our endpoints. So the one in the front, that one is going to be 58. And the one in the back, that one's going to be 45. And then finally, we need to set the position of our upper radius. So from the center point to the back is going to be a vertical distance of 95, or a horizontal distance because we turned it, of 95. And then that should ISO constrain your sketch. Let's go ahead and exit the sketch, rename this one as right guide. Now I can start on our profile. So let's start on the one that has our front plane. And we're just going to create a basic rectangle and then curve the top using an arc tool. So the 3-point arc, again, we'll start placing the center point randomly, setting the two endpoints, connecting them to our rectangle with a coincident relationship. And then take the top of the rectangle, set it for construction so that it's not part of our sketch. And then we'll rotate around to where we can see the guide curve endpoints a little bit better. and make those coincident to our profile shape. So first taking the bottom two corners of the rectangle, making them coincident to the guide curves, and then finally the top portion coincident to the top guide curve. Let's go ahead and add the radius as well. So that's going to be 113, and that should fully constrain our sketch. Let's go ahead and exit the sketch. And at this point, we need to create a plane to do our back profile on. So we can use the 3 points of the guide curve to create a point, or to create a plane. We very easily could have done an offset plane as well. On that plane, we're going to enter into sketch mode, create the same basic shape that we just made before, where we have a rectangle with a 3-point arc connecting the upper two corners, making the top portion of the rectangle for construction, and then again rotating it around so we can set those guide curve endpoints. Make sure we fully constrain our sketch, so that's going to be a radius of 120. And then rotate it around so that we can set those endpoints of our rectangle to our guide curve. Now that we've ISO constrained that sketch, we can exit the sketch and start into our multi-section solid feature. So we're going to select the feature first, then select the two profiles to build between. Check to make sure the closing points line up where they are. Technically, those closing points would have worked, but just to make sure that you know how to replace the closing points, just show you that right here. And then we're going to add our guide curves. So remember to go in order across the rotational aspect to make sure that your guide curves don't bounce back and forth. So that gives us the basic shape of our mouse. We just need to add a couple of fillets. So we're going to select those 3 edges of our mouse on the top portion and add a 15 millimeter radius, and then follow up with the 2 back portions of our edges there with a radius of 25. So finally, the last thing we need to do is shell out the inside to a uniform thickness of 3 millimeters. So first I'm going to select the face and enter into the shell feature. Notice I should have done the bottom too, but I missed it on this first go round. So I'm just going to go back in and edit my shell to add that bottom face as a face to remove as well. And that gives us our completed mouse cover. Finally, just to do a little cleanup, I'm going to hide that sketch so that you can't see it. And there she is.